Hello, welcome to the Becky and Boca Show. We are going to have a lot of fun here tonight. I have assembled a forum.
A forum.
To talk about the...
Or a foursome.
Yeah, foursome.
Right.
The nasty underbelly of Boca Raton. What goes on here? But before we get to that, I got to tell everybody that you got to stay tuned to Becky and Boca because we have a very special celebrity coming, Teresa Giudice from Real Housewives of New Jersey, coming on November 9th. There's not going to be any charge to meet her. So anybody that wants to come on and meet her, stay posted to the Becky and Boca Show page. Okay, now tonight, if anybody has been watching on Facebook, I got
there was a lot of lead up on this. There was a lot of comments. It was really good. And you started off with the nasty underbelly, and I'm thinking it's more like the naughty underbelly. I don't call it the nasty underbelly.
Okay, we're going to talk about the things that go on in this town. The dating scene, the different kinds of marital relationships or extramarital relationships.
I've never been married.
Who is dating who or whom? I'm not sure how you say that. And different, there's some swingers in this town. There's all sorts of stuff going on. And I invited these women to tell us about it. Now, I'm just a journalist. I'm just asking the questions. This is not.
But you're also our friend. So I think this is more like a kind of like a happy hour on the radio is how I like to think about tonight.
Yeah, so I have had cocktails with all of these women, and women start talking, and the stories that come out of their mouths, I'm like,
Would this all happen in New York?
We don't know. I think that's a poll somebody.
Yeah, we've all been in New York and we've been in Boca, but we're talking about what goes on right here in Boca Raton, and maybe because there's a lot of money here, there's a lot of wealth. I'm sure that has a lot to do with it.
I agree. I agree.
And let's start with older woman, younger man, because that's very, very common here. We could go the other way, younger man, older woman, but I think the more prevalent thing in Boca Raton is very old men with very young women.
I'm actually going with the opposite of cougar. But apparently that was like a Freudian slip. We're going to get to that, Jalisa.
The opposite of cougar.
We usually talk about the men.
We're talking about the older men with the younger women.
Oh, okay.
That's typical. I mean, is that not typical?
That's typical. That's been around forever.
Yeah, that's why you got to keep yourself in shape and get Botox and facial fillers.
I did a whole show about how when a man gets a Ferrari, look for the younger woman. And that happened this week
one of our
with
friends.
somebody we know.
I don't know if I know about this.
No names.
Someone was in a very nice relationship with a lovely woman.
Yes.
Oh, a little bit older than childbearing age, and all of a sudden this person announced that he was expecting a baby.
He actually said he may stop by.
Wow. I didn't.
But you know what?
I'm intrigued.
Wait, you know what?
We'll talk offline.
You know what preceded this announcement? He bought a new Ferrari.
He did.
He bought a new. He's having a baby and a Ferrari.
He got the Ferrari.
He got the young girl.
Right, and then he got
the young
baby.
girl thing. I mean, I think I think there's some competition down here. I mean, there's competition to look good. I mean, you're pro plastic surgery, so am I.
I'm pro everything.
My husband's younger than me, so I feel like I have to keep
you're
up.
under
I gotta look good. I'm under pressure. Because
you like dating younger men, Jalissa?
Not really, but they hit on me
all
the
the
time.
Closer to the mic.
Not really. They hit on me all the time.
Okay.
They pursue me. I would prefer somebody my age or a little bit older, 10 years older.
Okay.
The maturity level, a good balance.
But do you date younger men?
I dated one recently.
Okay.
What's the youngest man that you've been out with?
Well, that's a good question.
32.
32.
Okay, we're not going to ask Jalissa's age, but
No.
But that's respectable.
Yeah.
I mean, my husband's younger. I'm not a cougar. It has to be 10 years.
Okay, but now
driving by colleges.
I know Karen has a story that you said you would share.
I forget which one this is.
Okay, let me tell you. Karen is married to a man who she was dating while he was married to somebody else.
I was, yeah.
And that
That's
she had
factual.
a young child with him, and then a second one during. Okay, you want to tell that?
I mean, I
don't judge Karen.
No, and I don't judge either. And you know
Judge
what?
free zone.
As much of a conservative as I am, and I talk a lot of conservative politics, when it comes to relationships, I'm pretty liberal, and I'm pretty socially liberal too.
And you admit what you do.
Right.
I admit what I do. I don't care. I think if you're in a bad relationship, you're a fool if you don't think that somebody might cheat on you.
What's your mantra?
If you're not sleeping with your husband, somebody is. And you want to know what? I think that's true. I think men require a certain amount. I mean, at least the men I've been with, require a certain amount of attention. If you're not giving your man attention, you know what? Especially here in a climate of South Florida, there's a lot of girls who are looking for a nice guy. It doesn't make the guy necessarily a horrible human being.
Right.
But people need to be realistic. If you're in an unhappy relationship, people cheat.
Do you think
Get out. Stuff happens.
Do you think men are more lonely than women? Like if they're not sleeping with their wife or vice versa, who do you think would be apt to run?
I'm not like I don't consider myself like a needy person. Like, so I think when it comes to women, it depends on like the level of like I think everybody has a nurturing side and a needy side, and I think men require a certain amount of attention.
So women are more independent.
Okay, so can we go?
I think it's totally different for a woman. The motivation's totally different. When women cheat, it's for totally different reasons than when men cheat.
What are the reasons when women cheat?
I think when women cheat, it's emotional. They're not being emotionally fulfilled in the relationship, or they feel devalued. For me, I was in a relationship, and like we both were unhappy for a long time. But when you have kids, a lot of people stay in it, and you and I have talked about this for the kids.
Yes. Absolutely.
Let's stay in it for the kids because that's the right thing to do, and I respect that to a certain extent, and a lot of people do it. But you know what? A lot of people also cheat on each other. It's a reality.
Yeah. Or here I found that they live double lives. They really do.
Yep. I would be so bad at that. I would be the worst.
But they live the double lives.
Because you're very honest about what you do.
Hey, you know where I was today?
Okay, now back to Karen's story. Can you tell the story? What happened?
That's basically what happened. I met somebody. He was in a relationship. We fell in love.
He was married.
He was separated.
They had their own relationship issues. I mean, I don't want it. Right. I don't want to get into because it's going to be a he said, she said kind of thing. Yep. And what I was told and what actually happened. And I mean, we're going back years and years and years. I don't even think the details matter at this point.
Okay.
I think what matters if you're in an unhappy relationship and your husband or your wife feels devalued or feels like they're not getting what they want out of the relationship, they're going to cheat. So, you have to make sure that you're on the same page. If it means go to counseling or do whatever you have to do to make sure that other person is communicating with you.
Right. Communication is very important.
I see a lot of cheating going on. And believe me, there's a lot of people out there that have been through that. And look at me. I'm married to the guy that was like my affair and his affair. And we're married now.
How long have you been married?
We've been married for like 4 years now.
Okay, so he was married and had 2 children. And you had an affair with him.
Yeah.
And he eventually left his wife and married you.
Yeah, pretty much in a nutshell. And you know what? It's more common than people want to talk about.
Right.
Correct.
It's definitely more common. Correct. Like, I own it. And I'm like, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? You take the good, you take the bad. Like, I've had, I've been on the other side of the equation. I mean, this is my 3rd marriage. I'm not good at relationships. But I'm also not single. I think I marry everybody. I don't know.
Julissa, do you have a story to tell about dating in Boca?
Oh, God.
Can you give us some insight?
Stories? I get hit on mostly by married men.
You were telling me that.
Right. 80% are married men. And
you're single.
I'm single. I've never been married. What they do tell me is exactly what you said.
It's so interesting.
They need attention, and they're not getting sex. And it's a lot of men here that I see their wives in the same social circle at different events.
Do you feel like it's necessarily a sexual thing, or that sometimes with guys it's emotional? Because I think with women it's emotional.
I think it's emotional.
You think with guys it's emotional?
Yeah, having conversation with them, they need attention. They need
attention,
so much attention.
Exactly.
Petting and stroking. And telling them how great they are.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And they also miss the conversation with somebody that has something going on in their lives that is intelligent to talk to. Most of their wives don't have anything going on.
Right.
And all they do is complain.
What's the age range, would you say, that you meet, of the men, the married men?
Range is anywhere from 30 to 50.
And you were telling me that a lot of times these men's wives know that they're out there dating other women, and they don't care?
Correct.
Or they
so
don't
I
want to give
have
up
a
their
girlfriend
lifestyle?
that is actually, she's watching the show, having an affair with a local married man, and she had reached out to his wife.
She reached out to that's interesting.
Really?
Okay.
Because she fell in love.
We're on to something, right?
She fell in love, she told me, and she reached out to the wife.
To say what?
That she's been dating him and they've been having an affair. And the wife just turned her back, and they're still together.
See, she probably reached out thinking that would break up the marriage
Correct.
and she would get married, but
Correct.
it didn't because the wife already knew.
Correct.
Right.
And she didn't want to give up her lifestyle.
But
Correct.
see,
And
you know
she
what's so
probably
interesting
wasn't
is
the
that's
only one
super
that he was
common.
with.
No,
say?
That's super
Very
no,
common.
he's actually
Oh,
just
yeah,
saying
yeah.
her.
So that was the first and only?
So is it
Yeah.
a dead end street for that girl? If the wife and the husband are never
She
going to get
says it's
divorced?
great sex, so God bless her.
But is it more than that for
I
her?
wish I was having
I
date
think
sex.
everybody wants more than sex, don't
Right,
you?
yeah.
I mean,
Well, is it,
sex
obviously
isn't
it's
everything.
more
I mean, it's
than
great,
that
but
for her because then she reached out for the wife.
Correct. She fell in love.
she
That's
thought
it.
she
So it's
thought that
more
she
than-
could tell the wife and that would break
Yes,
up the
no,
marriage and
that
she
I
would get
know.
the
Do
husband.
you
Yeah.
think that it's that? You think it was that like devious on her
Oh,
part?
yeah.
I'm trying to think about who this could be. And I mean, obviously, I'm not going to give anything
No
away. but
names.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know because I
I've
think you
heard
could look at it a
stories-
different
I've
way.
heard stories where there will be someone dating a woman and he's married and the woman will have her girlfriends call the wife. They just want the wife to find out
Yeah.
to cause a divorce in hopes of marrying
Well,
the
that's
guy.
Wow.
that's a really cruddy move.
Yeah.
That's not
That
nice.
sounds desperate.
That sounds very
It does
mean
sound
girls
very
to me.
desperate.
That
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't
speaking of
necessarily think
desperate,
I like
want to
that.
shift gears here because there's another thing that we have talked about. There are women that will get pregnant
yes.
by wealthy older men, not men that they're interested in
Or just
being
wealthy
married.
Not
men.
even. I was going to
But
say
just
wealthy
okay, that'd be
older
older.
men.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I think
To
there's
my
internet
friends.
trolls
And
But
out
men
there.
that because
Wanted to
they
take
will get
care
child
of.
support for that child up
Correct.
to age 18, and
Correct.
child support is based on the income of the father.
And they know
Correct.
So
exactly
if it's
what
a
they're
very
doing.
wealthy guy,
Yeah.
you get a couple of those
It's a
kids
setup.
under you, bang out a couple of those kids from
Yeah.
a couple of wealthy guys.
Yeah.
And
You're set.
sometimes, you know what, you can bang out 2 kids in like 14 or 15 months if you do a really
We
good
know-
job.
okay,
I mean,
we-
I'm not, I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm just saying you can. I mean, it happens.
And then once you have that child, you don't have to marry the guy.
No.
And that income is going to come in for 18 years. And it's
Correct.
usually very good income if
Correct.
the man has money.
And sometimes
Right.
the girls get married. I mean, I think sometimes they have intentions going in. Like, I think there's a lot of people that meet on the internet these days. You know, the world has changed. People meet and they have maybe the best of intentions in that moment, but maybe they're not in the relationship for the right reasons because they're looking for,
I
a
don't know.
paycheck.
Okay, but I'm not talking about those women.
Well, I have a
Pay
personal
attention, Karen.
story.
That's right.
I have a personal story.
Get in focus.
I'm talking about
My
the
best
women that are
friend,
intentionally
this
getting
happened to
pregnant
him.
by wealthy
Yeah.
men so that they will have an income for 18 years.
Absolutely.
It happens.
Absolutely.
It
They
happens.
don't most
Not
of
if
the time
they
they don't
fell
get a
in
ring
love.
on their
Right.
finger, but some of them are lucky enough to get a ring. And when they get a ring, they get married and then they're
But some of
divorced
them
2 or
don't
3
want
years
that
later.
guy.
No,
But
no,
some
no,
of them
no.
don't
By
want
9
the
months,
guy.
they're done.
They don't want to get
They
married.
move on to
just
the
want
They want the
friends.
income
Of course,
and,
yeah.
and the kids.
Then why would you want a kid and no guy to help
No,
you? This
because
doesn't make
they're
any logical
financially-
sense to
support
me.
yourself.
Financially.
They don't have to worry about
Oh.
anything.
Yeah.
The
They can
money's
hire a
coming in.
nanny if the guy's wealthy enough.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. That seems so shallow to
But
me.
it
I would like
happens.
to
But it
believe that
happens.
that's
We
not
live in
true.
Boca.
It happens.
They're shallow.
I
Yes.
would like to think that people want to get married.
Do you know where we
Really?
live?
No, but
I
you know what?
guess.
Yeah, and there are a lot.
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
think.
that.
Well, I think a lot of people do want to get married, but in a lot of cases, the woman is looking for support.
Right.
You know,
She's looking for that
looking for
sugar
a,
daddy.
a rescue,
Sugar daddy.
someone to
Whatever you wanna
support
call
her,
it.
Right.
And having a kid with a wealthy
Yeah.
guy. You know how much alimony a normal guy gets. Can you imagine someone super wealthy? It's based on their wealth. It would be a lot of money.
It's so confusing to me though because it's so like beyond like my understanding.
Oh, but
Yeah,
you
I've
don't-
I know
never been
I'm
married.
preaching the choir over here, right?
I know someone that
Okay.
for many, many years, she was seeing someone, a very well-known person, and she found out whatever the secret was that he was doing, because there was a big secret.
Secret.
A big
Yeah,
secret.
a big one. I
What
can't
kind of
even-
secret?
I can't talk about it.
Oh.
No, it's not because you know what?
Ooh.
He
Now
was
I
up to
wanna know.
something.
Yeah, yes, and so therefore she was blackmailing him for years. She was
Women
getting,
do that all the
she was
time
getting
here.
a lot of money from him every month
Ah,
for years
Wow.
and years.
to
And
keep
then-
quiet about the secret. I think I know what the secret was.
How bad
No?
could the
Do I-
secret
No,
be?
don't say it. It
How
was
bad
not-
could it be?
It was not good.
It was
So-
not
was
good.
not good?
It wasn't good. It was someone who didn't want that to come out. So
Was it like dark and evil or just weird?
it was his secret.
It was
It was
It was
his
his
secret.
secret. Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah.
Oh.
So that was.
So she
something
was
that
getting money
she
that
had
way.
the house. She had the car. She was taken care of for many
Women
years.
are very manipulative.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
And How can men be so naive? Do you ever think that?
Well, and you know what I feel bad? I kind of feel bad.
Their brain.
But not only that, I feel bad for somebody who's kind of like getting extorted because they have some silly little secret that they don't want to give up, and somebody's going to like extort them for the rest of their life.
She did.
I mean, even if it's a huge secret, it still seems.
Now, but it was like 15 years or so, and
she had that on him.
She really got it.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I see things or saw things all the
now
time.
I want to ask you girls if you know, I've heard this rumor for a long time that there are swingers in Boca Raton, a very large community of swingers.
Yep.
I get hit on all the time by swingers.
By swingers?
And they go,
why are the swingers not? I mean, not that I'm looking for them to hit on me, but I'm kind of disappointed.
They want to play tennis.
Yeah. And
Always tennis during the day.
With their spouse? Is that the idea?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they invite you to go with their spouse and play tennis, and then what happens?
I'm like, are you kidding me?
During the day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then
Apparently
how
nobody
do you know they're
works.
swingers?
Because they both want to swing?
Because it comes out later after a conversation.
Yeah.
That they invite you to.
So were
But then they always...
Was it a monogamy?
They hit on my date first.
So many questions.
They hit on the guy first, so the female hits on my date, and then she's like, "Why don't we do a foursome playing tennis?"
Okay, you know what my thought on that is, and I could be wrong. A woman would only do that if she wasn't that attracted to her spouse or her partner, because I wouldn't want to share.
Or traditional. We're not talking about traditional people.
No, that's not true.
Not true.
Oh, Lisa.
Please tell
me. So what do you know?
Is it a secret?
What do you know?
She's got so many secrets.
She owned a store for a long time in this town. She knows a lot of things.
That's why I invited her, because she gets all the stories.
Absolutely.
No, there was a husband and wife that they went out all the time with this other couple. And the other couple told them that they had a whole group that they were swinging with.
Yeah.
And the couple then said, I don't want to deal with that. That's not good. The next thing you know, they were doing a foursome with the couple that told them.
I don't want to do that. Oh, okay.
But after they said that they weren't swingers, then they participated in the swinging.
Yes, they did. And they enjoyed it. And they loved each other. They loved their spouses.
There's a bar around here somewhere that's known as a swingers place. Is that still here? There was.
Trapeze in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, I was thinking, I think it was called the Hideaway.
Somewhere. I don't know about trapeze.
Oh, well, I lived near there when I first moved to Florida, like 17 or 18 years ago. But I had heard some kind of shady things about that establishment. You know, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, that was like where my kids went to school. So, like, I drove around there. There's no Kohl's there. I don't know what's going on, but
I think it was Deerfield or
I don't know.
It was near Hillsborough because I lived in Parkland. I lived in the Winter Circle, which is sort of a 441.
But I mean, for 30 years I've heard about that place.
But I've heard, I've heard things for being down here 18 years. I mean, I've seen a lot of things in 18 years. Like, I'm not, and I was a single girl coming down here. So I experienced some of what Jaleesa's talking about. Yeah. But not like nothing that was ever like outside of my comfort zone. It was like one of those things where like you know me, like I turk out. We call it turking out. Right. I turk out at like 10 o'clock. So I'm out before anything gets
the swinger thing starts later.
It gets right. So when things start to get weird, I gotta go. So
then I tell her stories the next day. She's like, "Wow, I missed all of that.
When did that happen?" And I'm like, "Oh, that must have been after I left." So I know what my comfort zone is, but I've seen a lot of things in 18 years, and there is definitely like an underground world.
Do you think
people that have a lot of money?
It comes with money. And why is that?
It comes with money because I think people get
bored.
You're bored. You get to the point where it's like you can buy tickets to any event, you can do whatever, but I guess doing things with other people is the only thing that's logically left. I don't know. I don't.
People are bored.
50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
And what was that other movie with Tom Cruise many years ago?
Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut.
That's the same type of thing. That was all wealthy men that would go to this place, and there would be women there.
And that would be like a key party or whatever they talked about. I actually had a conversation with an older woman, a woman in her 70s in Boynton Beach, who will remain not to be named this past week.
Okay.
And she told me that she had some neighbors that had some like key parties.
Okay,
and one of these retirement communities. And I said,
we already
I said key party,
about
and she goes, well, they come in and they put their keys in the bowl. Like, we weren't involved in it at all. She goes, but what ended up happening is the couples, like one of the couples in the neighborhood, I mean, we're talking like an over 55 community in Boynton Beach.
Wow.
Right.
They ended up getting like swapping and getting married to like the other people.
Oh, wow.
And now they live like across the street from each other. But the
keep it in your community.
As long as everybody's healthy.
Keep it in your community.
So, you put your keys in a bowl, then what happens?
And then I guess you pull a key and then...
I saw a movie about this one. You pull a key and then you go back to that house. Is that what happens?
No.
I don't know.
No,
I have
no,
a lot of
no,
questions.
no.
I have a lot of
I
questions.
think you put the.
Can someone call in and let us know?
Oh yeah, we're taking calls.
I sound like Lisa knows. Let's let Lisa tell us what goes on.
888-565-1470. If anyone would like to call in and wants to tell any stories about what goes on in Boca Raton,
That would be a lot of fun.
we would love to speak to you. So it's 888-565-1470. Okay, so a key party, what, you take the key and you
Lisa's got the
You
scoop.
don't leave. You stay in the house, don't you? Or
I don't know.
This is what
I'm
think.
learning.
Why do you put your keys in the bowl and
Okay.
then you kind of go off with whomever you decide to go off with? You're not going to someone's house.
No,
Oh, I thought
I
maybe
think it
it was
has
like
to.
a lock
I
and
interpret it
key.
as like you're
No, because-
picking up somebody person's random key, and then you have to like
Go
do
with that person.
Right? Yeah.
That's
I
what I
interpret it the
thought.
same way
Wow.
you did. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay,
I'm still trying to wrap my head around this.
Jalissa, as a single woman in Boca Raton, any other interesting stories? I think you told me that sometimes these men will be out at bars with a date in the same community where their wife lives. It's a small town.
Oh, yes. I've seen
and
this.
the wives and all their friends know this is going on, and it's just
Correct.
accepted behavior.
Correct. It is accepted.
But Karen, you look speechless.
I'm like, you know what? I think it's like their own personal business. I think everybody needs to like not be nosy.
Right.
Like now I feel bad because I'm like these people want to be like under the radar and like
Well,
do their
we're not
thing.
telling
no,
maybe.
they're not under the radar. They're out in public.
Right. They are out in public, but
They don't care. They don't
Yeah.
care.
They don't care.
Well, you know what?
They don't
People
care.
talk, especially in this town.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
They really talk.
Well, you know, I call her my sister wife,
Yeah.
and there are actually
Yeah.
people that think that she has some sort of a relationship with my husband.
Evan, yes.
Whatever.
You know, I have to say that in a non-sexual way, like I think it's really important. Like I need a lot of help. Like I need all the help I can get, and I have to
Right.
gather my girlfriends to help me with my husband. So I can only
Help you with your
imagine
husband.
if you couldn't fulfill your husband sexually, maybe you need other women to
need
help
help.
you.
Now, wait,
maybe you
hold
need
it.
to enlist
Hold
help.
a minute. So help you with your husband.
Not sexually.
Sexual. Okay.
Right?
That's
No,
fine.
Okay, now
just charity events.
I know.
Just charity events, just as a guest at the table.
I know a
That's
couple. I'm not going to say their names, obviously. He actually has two families, two wives,
Well,
two sets of children. Now this is common.
it. You told me
apparently.
this.
And he's with one wife in the United States for a certain amount of time per month, and he's with the other wife in another country for a certain amount of time per month. And this has been going on for 30 years.
and they know about it.
Yes,
They all-
and there
okay.
are lots of these situations and arrangements going on in this town. What it takes to keep all this going is money,
Right.
Correct.
in my opinion.
Because it gives people freedom.
Of course.
Freedom to do what makes them happy.
Both
what
wives
makes
have
them
beautiful
happy.
homes, beautiful cars, all the money they need, anything they want. And I've seen that over and over again. I know another guy that likes to sire children, even though he's married. And he takes care of those women, puts them in beautiful homes, gives them cars, supports them.
Wait,
Isn't that
let's back up a minute.
Wow.
I need to understand
He
this.
likes to sire
He likes to
children.
sire
Sire
children.
children.
I know,
I
it
need
sounds
to
like-
Sire.
I need. Is this like an
Sounds-
English phrase for he likes to have babies with women other than his wife?
I think for the super wealthy men, some of them, there is nothing more exciting than to produce a lot of children.
Wow.
And when
Really?
you have the financial means to support all those children and the wives and the mothers without marrying them in style, you can get away with it. And this person brings all these people together for birthday parties for these children.
So
there will be many
sounds
So
women.
they're basically the
Easter eggs.
Mormons. They're like the
Sounds
Mormons
very-
in Utah,
yeah.
but they're in Boca,
Yes.
and they're not Mormon.
They're not Mormon.
Gotcha.
God.
But they all,
Wow.
but you know, I've been at these parties and I've seen the jealousy that sparks between the women. He
Right,
thinks
right, right,
everything's
right.
fine.
Right.
They've all been taken care of. They all know this goes
and
on.
they all know about
but
one
I
another.
see the little,
Apparently.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the women don't. The women don't like it, even with all the money.
I want to go to Becky's party.
I know. Why aren't we invited to this?
It's
that?
actually a
It's
children's
super
party. I was invited with my son when he was younger.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Listen, you know what? God bless them because you want to go. At least they're accepting each other to some degree, and they're trying to have some semblance of
cohabit.
normality.
Yeah.
But
with
I
their
think
kids.
there's always going to be jealousy with the women. I mean, how
you
can there
put
not
a
be?
woman
I
women
agree
together,
completely.
there's jealousy.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we're always sizing us down, no matter, even though we're.
I'm jealous of
You're
Karen's
sizing.
necklace
What are
right
you
now.
sizing down?
I'm jealous of your necklace, actually.
Are you?
Yes, it's
Antonio
from
gave it to me.
My
My birthday present.
My friend Antonio, he's out there from the Antonio and Live with Antonio and Molly.
Yeah.
He gave
Yeah.
you that for your birthday on the rooftop in New York.
Isn't it beautiful?
It
It
is-
actually
it
wasn't
is
the rooftop in New
beautiful.
York this year.
This
That
was
was
the
Molly's
meat
birthday,
market.
but I'll take total
Oh,
credit
Molly's
for it. Take total credit for her birthday party.
I wasn't there. I was
You
out of
weren't
town.
there.
Yes.
You were out of town. Yeah, it was nice. It was intimate. We had a small
very nice.
group. We had dinner. It was beautiful.
I want to tell you one other thing I know about. There's a couple, very, very wealthy. They're married. They each have a beautiful home on either side of a nice waterfront canal in Boca Raton, but they each have their own house. She has a house and he has
Sounds like
a
our
house.
friend.
You know what I'm saying?
He has his bachelor. What does he call it? A cave? A cave?
Man cave?
Man cave.
Man
Man
cave.
It's another house.
Okay.
Oh, that's
He has
good.
a man house.
Yes, it's
And
a
she
man
has
house.
her-
And he's married?
Yeah.
And he goes to that house
I
to do
see.
what?
I don't think that's very unusual. Like, I don't
I
think
like that.
I kind of
Yeah.
like the whole
Yeah.
concept of
Yeah.
that.
You have
in
your
a
own
way.
house?
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, because you're going to appreciate that person when you spend time with
Yes.
them, and you can each have your own space and do your
Yeah.
own thing and whatever. And then when you come together, it's kind of like you're dating. Like
Yeah.
that kind of sounds kind of hot to me.
I
Have
don't
your
know
own
about
house.
that, but yeah,
As
long as-
I know that's been going on. Okay, rescue women, that's another thing, and we were talking about that. There are a lot of women out there that will come to a place like Boca Raton. They're struggling to raise their young children. Maybe they have a deadbeat dad in the picture. They're looking for a guy that's going to let them move in with their children and take care of everything.
But
and
doesn't
that happens.
right? Doesn't everybody want to be
Boca.
rescued? Like
No.
that's like I'm like you're kind of saying that. I'm like yeah, like
I
that
guess
makes
it's just
sense to
another
me.
level. There's all
It is,
sorts
because-
of levels of being rescued.
That makes sense to me though,
Correct.
because that sounds like a reasonable request. You know that you're going to meet somebody who, again, is maybe genuinely going to love you. It's not so out of the realm that like you're going to have
And
key
Does
parties.
that young
and-
woman really love that older
No,
man
but
that's
that's what we
taking
were
the family
talking
in?
about. That's what we were talking
That's
about.
the problem.
That's what
No.
we're saying
It
about
depends.
she gets
No.
together with a man and has a child. It's the same thing, but now they're getting married.
Well, no, what I'm talking about is a woman that has maybe a couple of
needs to
kids
be
from
rescued.
a previous
She's
marriage.
rescued financially.
She doesn't have enough money to take
emotionally.
care of them. She needs a roof over
Correct.
her head. She finds a wealthy, probably older guy, maybe that
Right.
she's not really that attracted to, and convinces him to let them move in.
But
Okay,
I think
wonder
there's
how
so
long that
many.
will
I think
last.
there's so many variables with that because what if the guy really needs somebody to take care of him and they really grow to love each other? Like I'm a
Well, that
romantic,
could happen.
so
It could happen, but I think
Yes.
in most cases the woman is not interested in the guy
Correct.
romantically. She's doing
Correct.
this to get a roof over her head and have her children taken
Well,
care
that's
of.
that sounds like a
That's
lot of
the
work to
end-
take on a
that's-
man for that. Like
Oh,
that
no,
seems like can't you just get a job and
Integral
get an apartment?
Ranch,
That's
Like
too hard.
Integral
That's
Ranch.
too
Girls
hard.
Get jobs in
what's going on?
A job.
I'm confused.
A job? A career?
You get a job.
An education?
No, they don't get a job.
No.
No. And these guys take them in and their kids and all of their problems and all of
And
the
who are
family
these- who
moves
are these
in.
guys?
The family moves in.
They have the mother and the
parents
father.
move in,
Grandma and
Exactly.
grandpa.
Yeah.
Now tell me,
That would bring- that's the next
Julissa,
subject.
what are
Next-
the biggest
next
pickup
Thursday.
bars in Boca Raton where this sort of thing goes on?
Which one isn't a pickup bar?
Okay, but what are give me the top five.
I would say steakhouses. There's always men traveling.
80% older men at
Yes.
the bar and
Correct.
very few women.
I walk in and they're all white heads.
But they probably have a lot of money.
I really don't care about the money.
Right, that's when.
But that would be a good place for someone going looking for
Correct. That's a gold
sugar
digger.
daddy.
Correct.
Sugar daddy
Correct.
place. Anything else?
You would have loved Pete's. Remember Pete's?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Pete's back in the day.
that.
That was a sugar daddy place.
Yeah.
That's
That
where
was
all.
a fun place.
Oh no! Wait, the
Yeah.
You don't-
wildflower.
Wait. Wildflower going
Wildflower.
way back.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Oh,
I don't know
that
about
was-
that.
Yeah, that was
Wait,
right
that
there
was
by
from-
I was
you
like
took us right across from
18, yeah.
Tutori.
Yeah, that was a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Oh.
The
The Wildflower
wildflower.
used to put out a spread of food and happy hour that you could just eat your entire meal. And I think everybody I meet now that's my age, you can say, "Did you go to the Wildflower?" And we figured out we were all there at the same time.
You know
but
what
we
my
know each other,
spot
but
was?
It was almost like Studio
My spot was
54, but in
Gigi's.
Boca.
Gigi's.
Gigi's Thursday night, Gigi's and Pronzo.
Yeah.
That was like
Pronzo, I
I had very
forgot about
fun-
Pronzo.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
Pronzo.
Francantino's now. It's all the same guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's very
Okay.
nostalgic. It's very Boca. Nice people.
That's the place.
Okay.
That,
But we're talking about bars where this kind of thing goes on, like
Well, I got to tell you, the steakhouse is where I find the
so
especially out
steakhouses
west.
apparently.
It's where
It's
the
definitely
swingers
steakhouses.
hang
All
out.
about
and you call that
Yes.
out west. That's so interesting.
Out west.
at the
that's not what you're
steakhouse chain restaurant.
That's where the swingers go.
That's where the swingers goes because they
Really?
live
There's
out
a
west.
big bar in there too.
Right.
A whole
over there.
room that's a bar.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
And it's
so
a little dark in one
interesting.
area,
Very dark.
so
Yeah.
the husband can sit there, and then the wife comes up to the bar
And asks you to play
to
tennis.
play tennis.
Wow.
Wow. Remember Plato's in New York?
No.
It's going way back.
No, we're talking about Boca.
We're talking about
Focus, Lisa.
Focus.
Wrong city.
I was thinking about all the swinging and everything that goes on, and it just came to
See,
mind.
do you think that it's the same now as it was like I know that the 80s, like I feel like I missed a lot of fun in the 80s.
Fun.
I was a little young and I missed a lot of like really good times.
You did,
like Studio 54 and like all these
I was scared to
iconic
go into the
clubs.
Wildflower because I was young.
I missed
but
all
my
those.
girlfriends are like, I'm gonna
and like
find
the
a sugar
Playboy
daddy. I'm like,
clubs.
I don't know if I want it.
So your
only
girlfriends would go. Wait a minute.
Swinging.
Your girlfriends would go into the Wildflower with the intention.
Lisa's got all sorts of
finding a
interesting
sugar
stuff
daddy.
going on here, girl.
I know she does. But wait, let's talk. Okay. So your girlfriends would go into the Wildflower. Their intention was
we
to
were
find
all like 16, 17, and 18.
and looking for an older sugar daddy.
Yes, and
What's
I was
older?
always afraid.
What would old be at that point? 30?
30, 50, and I'm like, I don't
30,
want
I was
an
at 50
old
at 16.
person. I'm like
No, that's old.
17.
So do
Yeah.
you think a younger woman ever really wants an old guy for anything other than money?
No.
I
I
do.
wouldn't.
But what's old?
Oh, I do.
What's old?
For me,
You
I do.
67.
I always liked older men before my husband.
You told me that.
It's good that you said that.
That's
But
too
your
old
idea of
for
older
me.
is
yeah,
not that
no,
much
of course
older.
it's too old.
They
for
couldn't
you.
keep up.
10 years
Yeah,
max.
no,
I'm talking
no.
20, 30.
Exactly right. Yeah.
What?
We were talking about. I said I kind of like older men before my husband. Now I like younger men. But
Your
I always
okay, her husband's younger than her, but she's telling us
Very
she likes
nice.
older men.
I did
But what
previously. Now I just like my husband because I'm in a monogamous
That's right.
married relationship. So I only like
And he
him.
was
But
younger than
back
you.
when he's younger than me, but he's the exception to the rule because I think for a woman, and I mean you talked about kind of being saved. I think every girl kind of wants to be saved to an extent. Even a woman who's an entrepreneur and is kind of self-assured, like we all want a guy to come in and kind
Take
of
care of us.
be our superhero and
Absolutely.
save us.
Absolutely.
And
Or at
I
least
think
act
sometimes
like
an
one.
older
Act like
man.
one, right.
I act like one.
Even if they're not going to act like one. No,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes older men can
Nuts.
provide that when a
Nuts.
younger man can't.
Not angry.
Was that a good
So
word?
an older man
Right.
has an advantage.
I'm going to be yelled
An
at.
older man has an advantage over younger men if he has more money than a younger man.
I think the money goes along with the maturity because I think a lot of men don't mature until they're about 40.
That's
and then
true.
all of a sudden,
Correct.
you know, they have money and have success. But most guys in their 20s and 30s, you know, we've all been through it. They're not financially stable
Right.
in the way that a guy in his 40s or
Correct.
50s is.
Correct.
So it's
Yeah.
totally two different life stages. So I think for me coming down here and being a single girl like 18 years ago,
Right.
for me, like I remember thinking like I can date a 4-year-old guy because I had
And
kids.
how old were you when you thought you could date a 40
I was 28.
And you thought 40 would be?
I thought
And
40
40
was
is a- no,
appropriate
40 is
at
a nice
28. I
age.
felt like that was,
Yeah.
and my ex-husband was 12 years difference, and that worked for a while. And then we had our differences for whatever reason, like everybody does. But
Okay.
it wasn't necessarily the age difference.
Well, that,
So I
because
think
you
an
were
older
still young.
guy, I
You were
don't
still
know.
young.
But I mean, if you're talking more than 20 years, then I think it's a totally different story.
Yeah. You see,
More than 20 years, then you start to get a little weird.
And then you know
Because then
what?
it could be their
It's
kid.
you
It's
see
exciting.
these women around town that married these men maybe when the guy was 50 and she was
That's what I was
25.
gonna
But you
say.
see them
That's a
now,
little much.
And the
That's
guy's
exactly what I was gonna
85.
And he has Alzheimer's.
And
Yeah,
he's
I
dying.
remember who- yeah,
and
that's
take
not
care
good.
of him.
That's not
it's
good.
wonderful. I've
Yeah.
seen, you know how many women I've seen a lot
I will
of
tell
that.
you, I went on
A
a
lot.
date a year ago with a 71-year-old, and it was
Oh.
the strangest thing walking through the restaurant in Palm Beach
With someone
with
that looked like
him,
your father.
and then he pulls out all of his pills before dinner, and I'm like, I don't know if this
my
is really going to work
no.
out. I'm like, no way. I am not
my
taking
God.
care of you.
No, well, that's exactly
This is
that
not-
kills the whole night.
This is not going to work
That
out.
definitely
Even though he's
killed the
very
whole night.
good looking,
Yeah.
Italian,
But the
tall,
pills.
all the women.
Someone should tell the guy not to pull out the pill case.
They have to pull them out.
I'm like,
That's
is
a
your nurse
lie.
coming out?
Oh,
What's going on here?
Oh, his vitamins.
Your
Yes, his
oxygen
vitamins.
tank? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
that's a
No,
lot.
but then you see
That
that,
kills
like
the
women that married a guy when they were a little younger, and the guy was still 50, but now he's 85, and
Correct.
she's like a healthy 60. That's a little creepy.
You know what?
Yeah.
We didn't talk
Yes,
about.
I
are they
agree.
still, do you still hear about escort services?
Oh, yes.
I don't even. You do because I used to be so like.
Well, I
Around
think
here,
now they
and I
can
moved
meet
out.
real people online
Right.
that they can hook
Yes,
up
because
with.
I
So I
think
think the
escort-
internet's changed
That's
the
what I'm
escort
saying.
service.
Killed that
Escort,
business.
I think so.
I remember 20
Women are
years
willing
ago.
to
there
Now
get
was
you
a
can
away
just
from
connect
sex
with
now.
other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to see it all around, and I used to hear about it. I actually knew women that were escorts.
You really, you know what? We should do
Wow.
a show with Lisa because this whole time when we've been talking to, Lisa
I'm
like
going,
keeps
yes,
coming in with
right,
these really
I
like
know, she's got
really
the interesting
super
stories.
interesting little tidbits.
Yeah.
Like she was on the whole Swing Club New York thing. We were,
Wow.
yeah.
I was, yeah.
You were. This is very cool.
Well, you've seen it all over the years because all these couples would
Even-
come into your store.
I've
A lot
seen
of them
it.
very
Right.
wealthy people.
Right.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
witnessed it. Saw it, witnessed it.
I
Been there, done
remember when I was 30,
But do you think
I
anything's
had
changed now or no?
that. It's
It's just
like
a
you said,
different
Probably more
name.
aggressive, I think.
They
Now.
were aggressive
Yeah.
back then.
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah, it was all, yeah. Believe
They were
me.
aggressive
Oh,
back.
yes. So I remember I was a young girl. I was however old
Fashion
I
and
was, 1920.
fetishes.
Right?
Fashion and
I was working there,
fetishes.
and
Oh, I like
one of
it.
the owners, yeah, he was young. Well, he was older than me. He was probably 30, married. He was hitting on me like crazy. He's a lovely wife, and then they sent me off to do some modeling. I'm in the room.
Ah. The old
Everything's
casting
off.
couch.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The door opens and I'm naked. And it's like,
You're naked?
Yeah.
Wait,
I was getting changed. The
I
door
told
opened.
you.
No, I have a lot of stories. I have a lot of
So
stories.
good.
That's it. They were like my grandfather's, except for the owner.
Oh.
Oh,
yeah.
he was only 30.
Yeah.
Only
Lovely
30.
wife, sweet wife.
Oh.
Wow.
Did she know this was going on?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Not with me, maybe with others, but not with,
So do you think a lot of times wives will look the other way because they don't want to disrupt their lifestyle?
Well, I think back then,
It was
without
they
social
didn't-
media,
Yes.
they wouldn't be able to find that information out. Whereas
You could
today,
probably keep a secret better back then.
right? Today,
And everybody's got a
everything is
camera on their phone.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you put me behind a curtain, I'll tell you.
Tell me. Oh, I'm going to do that, Lisa.
But we can't say I'm behind the
Oh,
curtain.
I won't say who you
Okay,
are.
good.
Right. No, and they won't recognize your voice
No,
or have
no,
any
we're gonna
clue
distort it.
whatsoever.
Then they'll say that must be Lisa because she's behind the curtain and squeezing.
What's behind the curtain?
She wants to be incognito.
Yeah. We'll do like dark with
All
like just a
right.
profile of
I know.
her.
What
Okay, now getting back to what Jalissa just said. It's much harder to keep a covert relationship hidden these days
Correct.
because social media,
Correct.
camera phones, and anybody can put anything out
Oh,
there.
they can.
Correct.
They
Yeah.
really can.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to have an affair, have it out of state, have it out of the country.
Fair advice from Lisa.
Don't do it.
I think there
here.
are more
Go to
women.
another country
Yeah,
if
go
you
to
want.
another
That's not
country.
very convenient. You're going to leave your husband in the morning, go to another country, and get back by dinner.
And they have a private jet.
Okay.
I think that also. Do you think that the women? It sounds like that the women turn their, they just turn
They
their
do,
head.
they
But
do.
I remember years ago, they didn't. So it would break up marriages, and of course there was when two people got divorced, they had to prove why. So they had to talk about, okay, this one did this one did, and they aired out everything. That's the only way you can get divorced back then.
Well, Florida's
You
a
had to
no-fault
have-
Well,
state.
you're right.
Yeah,
It's no fault, but then
No, but
people
that-
air
but it
their
was very-
grievances
they
anyway. But it
do.
is no
but
fault.
I think that women before, possibly, or maybe not in Boca, would get more upset. They'd want a divorce. They'd carry on. Here, they turn their head because they want the lifestyle.
Yeah,
they
they
want to
want the
continue the
lifestyle.
lifestyle.
And a lot of them have signed these prenuptial agreements.
Correct.
Yes.
Where if they
Yes.
get divorced, they're not walking away with.
With a certain amount
much
of
money.
Or
years
they
married.
stay because they do not want to have to pay. They don't want to pay.
You mean the
So
husbands?
it
The
costs too
husbands.
much money to get
Yeah.
divorced.
Too many
then they
assets,
agree-
too much money.
I've heard
they
that
would
story a
agree
lot,
To
yeah.
stay and do what they want to do, so
Correct.
the husband doesn't have to pay.
But what a
Give it up.
crappy life.
Yeah, it is.
To live
Listen,
a
different
double
strokes
life
for
like
different
that.
folks. Like I said
I
at the
can't do
beginning of
that.
this,
I
like
can
I
never
don't
do that.
judge.
That's-
So
No.
if that works for these people and
Yeah.
they're happy and nobody's
But I
trying
would
to kill
think
each
that
other,
the person that would be unhappy would be the woman having the affair with the husband because that relationship is not going to lead to anything.
No.
right? Because he's
Or
still
it
married.
could.
Most,
You never know.
most men don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's right. You never know.
You never know.
So I wouldn't have continued the relationship if I didn't think that there was going to be a
chance.
But what
future
about
with the
the-
relationship.
wait,
It's a
I
very
know-
different situation. Like I
know
don't
plenty
think
of
you
men
can just
who
put
will not
anything in a
leave.
box.
They will not leave their wife. They pretend, they promise, they do whatever, and then the girlfriend stays and stays and stays with hopes of him leaving, but he's not going to leave, and,
Right.
he
Yeah.
doesn't really want to pay the wife. He doesn't really want to give that part up, but he doesn't want to lose the girlfriend, so he's
So
acting
Well,
he's
all-
he sounds like a jerk.
Yeah, who's this guy?
He sounds like a jerk.
Every guy.
Because then he shouldn't. I mean, either you're going to do it like it's.
No, but that happens a lot. The husband
No.
is not going to leave.
People have told me
Yeah.
in
It's like
Boca Raton,
pooper get off the
yeah, but
pot.
most-
No, because
Right.
of the
They don't-
amount
they
of
don't
wealth
leave.
in this town, people don't want to lose their money.
Yeah,
Correct.
they really don't.
So they will work out all sorts of arrangements
They
to stay
do.
married
Yeah.
and do what they want to do because
So
they
either
don't
they're
want to
in or
lose their
they're
money.
out.
So
Either they're with it or
recently,
they're not.
I always get my nails done. My nail
I
stylist.
find out a lot in the nail salon.
Yes, I'm always there.
found you.
Won't name where I go. But my nail stylist, she's like, I have a hard time making ends meet. She's dating a married guy. I love listening to her stories.
Yeah.
And so he's
putting her up, and he's
this
paying.
is super
paying for her
interesting.
apartment,
Paying for her apartment.
and her expenses.
She's moved twice. He's had to pay for her security, her moving.
And the wife doesn't know anything.
No.
Oh,
and
see,
they have
now
2 kids.
Okay, so that's a reason for a woman to have an affair with a married man if he's putting her up and paying her expenses.
Correct.
Well, it's the same kind of thing. It's like a triangle. It goes different.
But he also,
I'm just still intrigued that she's the therapist to the nail salon technician instead of the nail salon technician being a psychiatrist to her, which is usually the opposite.
Like, this is I don't have any issues.
This is interesting.
They know a lot.
They do.
They do.
Stylists and
But then she tells me that
makeup artists know a lot.
she tells me that he becomes possessive.
Well,
He's like,
sure.
He's like, you have to be home by 10.
Even though he's home with his wife.
Yeah.
But probably
Of course.
even more so because he knows he's worried because
Like,
she's
how
still
can he
single and
be?
he's
Right.
not.
exactly.
Yeah.
And she goes out with friends, and she might meet someone else.
Yes.
He doesn't
Yeah.
want to lose her.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to lose his connection.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, no, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
And now, would he be jealous of the wife or just the girlfriend?
I think he's more jealous of the girlfriend.
I'll let you
he's
know.
not jealous of the wife. He knows where his wife is.
So, Julissa, when these married men ask you out, how do you find out they're married? Are they wearing a ring?
So it's very interesting because some of them will say that they've filed for divorce.
Oh, they're getting a divorce.
So I'm always thinking, does your wife know that you filed for divorce?
I have a story about that.
Or did you really file for divorce?
Or they're separated.
Where are you during this divorce?
I know someone.
Where are you?
in the divorce?
Yeah. Last year I was dating a married guy, but he did file for divorce. He did show me the paperwork. And just recently in January, and I'm sure he's watching the show, in January they have separate homes. Okay. And he was just here this past weekend, and we had dinner.
And you had dinner. So
yes.
is he looking a little better to you now that he's actually getting a divorce?
It's closer.
Yeah.
Well, and not
better.
with naming any names, but I'm just curious because when you first met him, I don't think he actually told you what his status was, and I think
You're
it
talking
came
about the
out.
young guy.
Oh,
we're not talking about him.
There's so many.
What was the young guy's status?
This other guy, he lives in New Hampshire.
Okay.
Yes, and
Okay.
I met him here in
And he's
Boca.
married too?
Yes, but he had filed for divorce, but like you said, I don't wait around, and I got frustrated. I'm like, this is not working out for me. You're not getting divorced.
Yep.
And so he came to me in January. He's like, so now I have a separate home, you know.
Okay.
And
Is he
so
still married?
He's still married.
Do you
got
want to
that
know
as well.
what?
Still married.
I think
that he has a
sometimes it
separate
takes
home.
time for people to get divorced. I was
With a lot
married
of
for like
assets.
6 years the first
Correct.
time beyond what I should have been. So, yeah, it happens.
Yes, it can take a long time.
It happens.
So is he married? Yes. Is he separated? Yes. Is he going through the process? Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Are you going to
So
date him
we'll
yet?
see. Well, we just had a lovely dinner, and I did invite him to the Dominican for the wedding. I'm going to a wedding soon, so we'll see.
So you might be going with him on a
We'll
trip.
see.
All
We'll
right.
see.
Okay.
Well, and then it'll all be out there, Chalisa,
Yeah.
now that we just talked about it on the show, and there's pictures on Instagram.
Whoever she brings to the Dominican wedding.
But
a lot.
his soon-to-be ex-wife is dating somebody for 2 years.
Oh.
So they're separated. They live in
Right,
separate
that's good.
homes. And
That's,
so
I
it's
don't think you can
different.
define if somebody says they're
Some-
married. I
Some
think.
divorces
I
take
have a
longer
story.
than others.
What do you
I
got?
know-
There's a lot of money.
Wait, I want to hear
exactly.
Lisa's story.
I know
Lisa's got
someone-
another one.
I know
All right, what is
someone
it?
that was married, and shortly after his first his child was born, he met someone when he was away, and he was seeing her for 4 years. Told her that he was in an unhappy marriage. He then moved out of the house. He got his own place. Stayed with friends. Then he got his own place, and she was excited. She lived out in another state. She was gave word at work and gave her pets away, put her house up for
Oh, boy.
sale, and he even
What?
showed her phony divorce papers.
But I was going to say.
Well, wait a
Divorce
second. This all
papers.
comes back to these women are stupid. I'm so
Phony
sorry,
divorce papers,
but
and
you're
he-
stupid. You're plain out stupid at that point.
And then
That's what
she
happens
found
when you
out
don't want to work
that
or have
none
a
of it was
career.
true, then
You become
she started
Or these men are
going
very
in for the
convincing.
pill.
Men can be very.
Yeah,
Oh,
4
I can
years.
smell
no,
out the
you
crap.
want to know what?
I can smell
I don't
out the
have.
crap.
You got to.
No.
You got to smell
Crap
that
detector.
coming.
Because I have a
I mean,
career,
she
I
didn't.
walk
She went
away.
on
I don't
although
need
she
that drama.
documented
I don't
every
need
time
that
they were together
stress.
for
No
4
way.
years.
Well,
why
that's
did
a
she
little
do that?
shady too. Why is she documenting every time they're together? That's a little shady because she's looking to trap up.
But the private
It's not
investigator
right.
business in this town is booming.
Right?
It's not nice.
I always wanted to be
Video
a PI.
cameras.
Cameras
I
everywhere.
wanted to do that. That would be exciting.
What? Be a private investigator?
Yeah, I wanted to.
That could be your next
Oh.
career.
I know somebody. I'll connect you with her. Maybe you could do like a ride along with her.
Ride
Would you
along.
like to do that?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I'm good at that.
We could film it. We could have like Antonio in the back seat. Yeah, we could do like a
I
whole
have my
Antonio.
dates, and this one does background checks on my dates.
Well, that's good.
Oh, you
Sometimes.
background check your dates?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
I'm
they
lucky
say-
enough. I have some social media people, and I have some resources because you know I do a lot of political commentary, and someone's going to
She'll
check
wait
out
until
people.
I break up with them. She's like, I knew
And
that
I'm like,
was gonna
hey,
happen.
you know, like,
Why did they tell you that?
yeah, well,
Why
it was
did they
only because
tell you
that got like there was some weird stuff online, and I kind of took note that
Yeah.
there was
Yeah.
something,
Something
more
shady.
to that. Yeah.
I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me 3 months ago? Saved me the
Well,
grief.
you know what?
maybe-
Again, I will
maybe
never
you
talk
wouldn't have
badly
listened,
about anybody
right?
anybody's
Sorry?
with.
Maybe you wouldn't have listened.
Yeah.
You weren't
You
ready.
can't. You can't do that.
Right.
You have a
Probably.
friendship.
You might end up married to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you said something bad about their spouse.
Don't say bad. I don't want you know. So yeah, I mean, unless it was something, if you were in danger for your life, I would tell you.
I
but,
sure hope so.
you know, if it was something that was like personal.
That's what I. Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, so do we have any advice for single women in this town?
Don't
I got
get
nothing.
married.
What to look out? Oh, well.
You don't want me to get married?
Just get married, my advice.
Yeah,
Just
get married.
get married.
Get married to
Don't.
someone
She
you
says
love.
just
Somebody
get
nice that
married.
you love.
And I'm saying,
Yeah, so that's the
You're
key.
Superman.
Someone that you
Check out-
love, not
check out
someone
the
that you
man
love
before you
because they have money.
marry him.
Right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, isn't that the basic?
I definitely want to fall in love.
Does he have to have money?
Well, you can't be a broke.
Can't be right. There you go. Yeah.
Sorry.
This
There's
is
a
broken.
certain level. I mean,
Yeah.
no, I don't want a cook or something. You know, I don't want. I don't.
He could cook you lovely
Well,
dinners.
and he could also.
That's a chef.
That's a chef.
He can be the head chef.
Correct.
That's what she said. A chef, she would take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, so you do have criteria on.
Oh yes, definitely. I'm
check-
turning
check-
45 and I've never been married. I have very high criterion standards.
I think we
I
should
don't
do a
deal.
shout out to your audience. I think
Yeah.
we should challenge
Hi.
your
What are you
audience.
looking- What are you looking for, Jalissa?
Yeah.
Ooh, tall, dark, handsome.
Tall, dark, handsome.
Now get rid of
Definitely educated.
She likes a guy. She likes a smart guy she
I
can
do.
banter with.
Oh my
she
gosh.
likes conversation.
Gets me juicy goosey. I got that.
Goosey goosey.
Yeah.
Juicy goosey.
Juicy
goosey.
goosey. When a guy is brilliant and intelligent.
She likes
Okay,
to talk.
do you like
I
that
do.
over looks? What's more important?
Intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay, so-
that's a good.
Yeah.
So you
Good
can be
answer.
attracted to his mind, but not attracted to him
She's seen
physically?
some of the guys I've dated. 2 years ago, Mr. Porky Pig wasn't.
Love is in the
The
eyes
most-
of the beholder.
Yeah, but don't you think you have to have an attraction? You have to have chemistry. You have to
But
have
I think
physical
because
attraction.
attraction
Chemistry
can
for
be
me is in
yeah.
the brain.
Okay, we got 2
Yeah.
minutes. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So I'm available.
okay, all right. Tall, dark, handsome. You said handsome. No, you just said chemistry.
Handsome, it doesn't have to be
Handsomeness.
gorgeous.
You know what?
Yeah.
Everyone has their own.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
they're attracted to.
Good
Tall-
hygiene
yeah.
too. Good
Good
hygiene.
hygiene's
Good
important.
Hygiene's important. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to like
I
my
wouldn't
friends. They
say
have
they
to
have
fit
good
in with my
hygiene.
friends.
And they have to get along with their mother.
Doesn't have good hygiene.
My mother?
No. his
Okay,
mother.
so you can message me, Becky and Boca Show, if you have someone that we want to meet Jalissa. Okay, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I
Bye-bye.
hope you enjoyed our show, and I'll see you next week. You have been watching and listening to The Becky and Boca Show. Tune in every Thursday night at 6 p.m. to discover all the ways to spoil yourself and have a good time in beautiful Boca Raton. See you next week.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff.